Discover how one incredible single mom transformed the lives of 3 wild triplets in just 30 days. As the sun began to set over their suburban Ohio neighborhood, Sarah watched from her window, her heart heavy with the contrast of her chaotic home life against the laughter and warmth of families gathering for dinner. The latest holiday decorations sparkled on their porches, a reminder of traditions she longed to instill in her own children. But with spirited triplets Aiden, Mia, and Jake running amok, Sarah often felt like a soldier in a never-ending battle, fighting against the very joy she wanted them to experience. Each day was a roller coaster of energy. The thrill of new challenges filled her children's lives, but with that spark came the turmoil behavior that often shocked the neighbors. "Those kids just need discipline," Sarah could almost hear them whisper. Each judgment felt like a weight pressing down on her shoulders, amplifying her exhaustion. With endless shifts as a waitress and part-time cleaner, her dreams of a brighter future for her family felt more like distant stars than reachable goals. As the seasons turned, Sarah's hope flickered like the fallen leaves that caught the autumn breeze. Halloween approached, and while decorations adorned her neighbors' homes, Sarah's house remained a whirlwind of toy battles and sibling rivalries. The laughter of children trick-or-treating down the street pierced her heart as she tried to corral her 3 little tornadoes, who seemed more interested in scavenging through their own candy stash than following any rules. But nothing prepared her for the storm brewing at the school. The call came from the principal just as autumn's chills settled in, delivering the news that her children's behavior had put them at risk of suspension. Panic gripped her. Disruptive? That was not her children. She felt raw and exposed as she sat in that stuffy office, pleading for understanding, for leniency. Each remark from the administrators felt like a dagger, striking deep. Is this what they think of us? She thought, vulnerable and ashamed. That's when she saw it a flyer for a veteran-led mentorship program. Her heart raced at the thought of intervention. Help. For my kids. A harsh mixture of pride and desperation gripped her. Admitting her children needed assistance tugged painfully at her, yet deep down she recognized the truth: they were struggling, and asking for help didn't have to mean failure. After a sleepless night, resolve set in. She had to make a choice. The next morning, she signed them up, trembling at the thought. But as she watched Aiden, Mia, and Jake engage with their mentors, something began to shift in the air. Guided by new friendships and support, laughter flowed in ways it hadn't before. The triplets began refining their focus, tackling homework and fostering social skills, slowly transforming them into the bright children she believed they were meant to be. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as a sliver of hope began to shine through the dense fog of despair, reality crashed in. A note arrived detailing their impending eviction, a nightmare Sarah had fought to avoid. The choice loomed: chase a new job opportunity that could secure their future but risk severing the bond they'd just begun to mend, or stay close while facing the threat of homelessness. At that moment, Sarah stood at a crossroads, heart pounding between ambition and duty, dreams for herself and dreams for her kids. Would sacrificing her time for the sake of her family lead them to the success she envisioned? Or was true success nurturing the connection they had fought so hard to build? The clock ticked on, leaving Sarah wrestling with the greatest question yet. Would she find the strength to choose in the name of love? The morning light crept into Sarah's small kitchen, its rays catching dust motes dancing in the air. Today was not going to be ordinary. Today held the weight of possibility. But with that possibility came the choking fear that twisted her stomach in knots. She felt like a juggler trying to keep too many balls in the air, and at any moment, one might slip through her fingers. Aiden, Mia, and Jake were finishing breakfast, their conversations overlapping in a melody of childhood exuberance. For a fleeting moment, the worries of the eviction receded, replaced by the warmth of their laughter. It was in these little moments that Sarah found glimmers of joy peeking through the clouds. She smiled to herself. If only we could hold on to this, she thought, wishing she could freeze time and capture the pure, untainted happiness radiating from her children. But as the clock ticked, reality could not be ignored. She had that interview today, a chance for a better-paying job at a local diner, but it also meant she would have to leave her children in someone else's care. The very thought made her chest tighten. It was a tough decision, one that felt like choosing between fire and ice. After breakfast, the trio launched into their usual preschool chaos. Shoes went missing, and backpacks became battlegrounds as they fought over who would take their favorite lunchbox. Instead of despairing over the disarray, Sarah took a deep breath and joined them in the fun, their shared laughter lightening her heart momentarily. Maybe, in this collective silliness, they could find the strength to face what loomed ahead. Okay, team. We are superheroes today, right? She declared, dramatically striking a pose. Yeah. They shouted, their faces beaming as they momentarily forgot the battle against time and routine. As they raced out the door, Sarah glanced back at their little home, its cracks and faded paint now feeling like a part of their story. It held memories of joy, struggles, and love. And though it was not perfect, it was theirs. The trip to school felt like a blur. Sarah parked her beat-up car, heart thumping wildly as she approached the diner for her interview. A mixture of hope and anxiety bubbled within her. This job could pull them back from the brink of disaster, but was it worth the time away from her kids? Inside, she was greeted by the scent of coffee and sizzling bacon. The diner was bustling, a familiar chaos mirroring her home life. As she sat down in front of the manager, she could feel her hands trembling slightly. Would she be enough? Sarah, tell me about yourself, he prompted, looking over her resume. 1,000 thoughts cluttered her mind. Instead of rehearsed responses, words slipped from her lips raw, genuine. She spoke of her triplets, her love for them, her determination to create a better life. With each sentence, she felt her conviction strengthen. This was for them. Everything was for them. But just as she gained momentum, the manager's phone buzzed insistently, cutting through her moment. He glanced at it, his face draining of color. A second later, he looked back at her, eyes wide. There's been an emergency at the school. You've got triplets, right? Instant panic surged through her. My kids. Are they okay? A million worst-case scenarios raced through her mind. I don't know, but his words faded away, drowned in the rising tide of fear engulfing her. Sarah bolted upright, her heart racing. She had to know. As she sprinted to her car, dread clawed at her. What had happened? The nurturing bond they had just begun to foster felt fragile, threatened by the world outside. She couldn't ignore that ominous feeling that something was about to change and it might not be what she was ready for. Would she find the children she left just moments ago waiting for her, or would their world spiral out of control yet again? Sarah's heartbeat thundered in her ears as she sped to the school. Each second felt like an eternity, the world around her blurring into indistinguishable colors. What kind of emergency could warrant this level of alarm? It felt as if a dark cloud was closing in around her, swallowing all hope. When she finally reached the school, she leaped from the car, slamming the door behind her. The building loomed ahead, a stark reminder of her fears. Panic settled deeper into her chest as she rushed toward the entrance, her feet pounding against the pavement. A knot of parents gathered outside, their faces painted with concern. She scanned the crowd, desperate for any sign of her three little superheroes. Sarah. A familiar voice called out. It was Mrs. Thompson, the school secretary. Her expression was serious, tinged with worry. I'm so glad you're here. Come quickly. What happened? Are my kids okay? Sarah's voice trembled as she followed Mrs. Thompson inside, only to find a sanctuary quickly morphing into chaos. Teachers darted about, organizing children who were suddenly separated from their parents. There was a small fire in the art room, but everyone is safe. Your kids were in the gym, and they were evacuated before anything could happen. Relief surged through Sarah but was quickly shadowed by the fear that still clung to her. Where are they now? In the library, waiting for you, Mrs. Thompson assured her, gesturing down the hallway. Before she could respond, Sarah dashed toward the library, her heart swelling with anticipation. As she pushed open the door, the sight before her stole her breath. Aiden, Mia, and Jake sat clustered together at one of the tables, coloring books strewn around them. Their faces lit up when they saw her, and Sarah felt a rush of warmth. "Mommy!" They chimed in unison, rushing into her arms, their little bodies fitting against hers like pieces of a puzzle. "I was so scared," Aiden said, his voice muffled against her shoulder. "But we were in the gym. Mrs. Miller helped us." "Yeah, Mommy. We even got to play freeze tag while we waited," Mia added, giggling. Jake tugged at her shirt, his eyes wide. "Can we do it again? It was fun." Overwhelmed with emotion, Sarah held them tighter, each small heartbeat grounding her. "I'm just glad you're all okay," she whispered, fighting back tears. They settled down, enjoying the relief of having their mother back. But the chaos outside reminded Sarah of how quickly everything could change. They needed more than just stability. They needed security, they needed a home where they wouldn't fear the unexpected. After spending a few more minutes in the library, Sarah led the kids outside. She kept glancing back at their school, the shadows of uncertainty still hanging above them, making her dread the thought of tomorrow. She had made it through one storm, but would she have the strength to weather another? In the quiet of their drive back home, Sarah made a choice. She wouldn't let fear dictate their lives. "We're going to be okay," she promised herself. But as she looked in the rearview mirror, her children smiling back, she knew deeper challenges lay ahead. How could she find that balance, the stability they craved? And would she ever feel secure in their uncertain world? Then, her phone buzzed again, and a message blinked across the screen, an unexpected offer that had the potential to change everything. Sarah's fingers trembled slightly as she lifted her phone from the passenger seat. The notification flashed with bold letters, but the message was a mixture of hope and fear. Job offer, community program coordinator. It filled her with a rush of possibilities and doubts. Coordinating for a community program? It sounded like something she could be passionate about, yet her heart raced at the thought of leaving her current routine behind. "Mommy, what is that?" Mia's sweet voice pulled her from her thoughts. The kids were still blissfully unaware of just how precarious their lives had become, and part of her wanted to keep it that way. "It's a job offer," she murmured, feeling the weight of the decision. Could this be it? The stability they needed? A new job? "You could be like a superhero, Mommy," Aiden exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Kids really had an amazing way of turning even the mundane into magic. "Yeah. Super Mom," Jake echoed, bouncing in his seat. The energy was infectious, and Sarah couldn't help but smile, a flicker of hope igniting within her. But with that hope came hesitation. "Do you think it would be good, though?" She didn't want to admit her fears, but the words slipped out before she could stop them. "Of course," Mia chirped. "Then we can have more fun, right? Meet more friends." "What if it's too much?" Sarah sighed, a weight creeping back to her chest. "What if I'm not ready?" "Mommy, you're the best. You can do anything," Aiden reassured her, his little voice unwavering. A moment of silence stretched between them, filled with the laughter from the park across the street. Kids were chasing each other, pure joy on their faces. Sarah glanced out the window, remembering her own childhood dreams, the carefree days before life got complicated. Maybe this job could lead to a fresh start. Arriving home, the familiar scent of home-cooked meals wafted from the kitchen. Sarah watched her kids tumble out of the car, their energy spilling into the yard. She felt a rush of warmth in her heart. Whatever uncertainties lay ahead, she had to try. For them. After settling in, Sarah found a quiet spot at the dining table, the glow from her phone illuminating her face as she reread the job offer. Her heart raced as she typed a brief response, shaking off the nerves. "What do you think, guys?" she called out, glancing at her children playing nearby. "Want a new adventure?" "Yes. Yes. Yes." They shouted in unison, their enthusiasm infectious, as they raced toward her. Sarah couldn't help but laugh. Maybe her kids were right. Perhaps this was their chance to turn the page on fear and embrace the unknown together. As they excitedly began drawing on the table, creating their visions of what a superhero community looked like, Sarah felt another message ping on her phone. A different name, a different tone. "Need to talk. Urgent." Her heart dropped. What could this be? The excitement of the offer dimmed, replaced by a sense of impending urgency. Did this mean more chaos? "Mommy, come play with us," Jake shouted, snapping her back to the present. With a deep breath, she fought to regain her focus. "In a minute, sweethearts. I need to check something," but part of her wondered if that would lead to a new storm, or maybe the answer she desperately sought. Could this be the break she needed? Or was it just another hurdle on her path? With that uncertainty looming like shadows in the twilight, Sarah prepared to make decisions that could shape their future. Would she have the courage to face it all? The phone buzzed again, pulling Sarah back into a whirlwind of thoughts. Her finger hovered over the new message, the name on the screen sending a jolt through her. It was from Lisa, her old friend from college. The anxiety tightened in her chest. They hadn't spoken in months, not since Lisa had moved out of town to chase her own dreams. Taking a deep breath, Sarah opened the message. "Can we meet? There is something important I need to tell you." The rest of it felt muddled. She read it twice, her heart hammering louder with every line. The kids were still absorbed in their drawing, the table now a riot of colors. Aiden had crafted a crayon superhero with a cape, while Mia delicately painted a rainbow above. Jake was recounting their imagined adventures, eyes wide with excitement. Their laughter wrapped around her, a reminder of what she was fighting for. "Okay, new plan," Sarah called, breaking in on their creative world. "How about we take a superhero break and grab some ice cream?" "Yay!" They cheered, tumbling off their chairs. For a moment, Sarah felt the lightness of joy lift her spirit, but the weight of the message still sat heavy in her heart. As she drove to the local ice cream shop, her mind spiraled back to the meeting with Lisa. What could she want so urgently? Had something happened? Or was it about Sarah? Had someone told her how she was struggling? That fear twisted her stomach, but even more pressing was the unknown heading her way. The ice cream shop was bustling with families, kids giggling, and teenagers chatting. Sarah felt a pang of envy as she looked at them, wishing for a sense of normalcy amidst the chaos. There was a little boy with bright blue eyes, his ice cream cone melting down his hand, much to his father's delight. Both were laughing, completely in the moment. "Look, Mommy. Can I have that one?" Mia pointed at a rainbow swirl cone, her eyes shining. "Sure, sweetheart," Sarah replied, feeling an echo of happiness reflecting from her kids. After they finished their cones, Sarah felt the warmth of their smiles mingling with the lingering worries about Lisa. What was it that could not wait? Despite the sweet taste of ice cream, her mind kept circling back to the message. "Okay, I need to run an errand," she announced as they walked back to the car. "Let us go home first. I just want to check on something." Once they arrived home, her hands felt clammy as she stared at her phone. Should she respond to Lisa? What could she even say? "Mom, can we draw some more?" Jake asked, tugging on her shirt. Sarah hesitated and then smiled at him, finding comfort in their simple request. "Sure. Let us finish that superhero community. It needs to be the coolest one ever. With crayons in hand, they settled at the table again, laughter filling the room. But Sarah's heart wasn't quite there. The impending conversation with Lisa loomed like a dark cloud over her thoughts. What if it brought unwanted changes? Or would it help? Amidst the vibrant chaos of their drawing, Sarah caught a lingering fear that wouldn't let go, that this might not just be about her. The reality tugging at her was layered, choices, risks, and the daunting labyrinth of life. As the evening approached, shadows began to fill the corners of the room. And as much as she wanted to remain lost in joy, the thought of the impending call from Lisa buzzed insidiously in her mind. Was this the moment she'd been waiting for, or the start of another storm? Whatever lay ahead, she couldn't shake the feeling that her life and those of her children was about to shift in unimaginable ways. Could she brace herself for the truth that awaited her? The next morning dawned bright and clear, but Sarah felt the lingering weight of the previous day. As sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, it lit up the kitchen table, still cluttered with the kids' drawings. She smirked at Aiden's heroic figure, impressive, but not quite accurate. Today was the day she would finally decide what to do about Lisa's message. "Mom, can we have pancakes?" Mia squealed, peering over the counter. Her little face was a picture of excitement, eyes sparkling like the morning sun filtering through the glass. "Sure, but we need to hurry," Sarah replied, trying to shake off her unease. As she whisked the pancake batter, her thoughts drifted again to Lisa. The unanswered question gnawed at her. What was so important that it couldn't wait? The kids crowded around, excitement bubbling over as the smell of cooking pancakes filled the air. Aiden tried to flip a pancake of his own, which resulted in a splatter of batter across the countertop. They all burst into laughter, and for a moment, the joy of the morning chased away her worries. But the laughter ebbed as the pancakes disappeared, and Sarah's thoughts returned to the looming conversation with Lisa. She wanted to believe it would be good news, but the tight knot in her chest told her differently. After breakfast, she gathered the kids for a quick cleanup. "All right. Time to tidy up before we head out." They begrudgingly picked up their crayons and scattered toys. Despite their usual energy, something was off. They sensed her distraction, darting glances her way. "Mommy, are you okay?" Jake asked, his small brow furrowing in concern. Sarah knelt and pulled him into a hug. "Of course, buddy. Just a lot on my mind." She offered him a reassuring smile, though it felt forced. "Is it because of Aunt Lisa?" Mia chimed in, digging her pink crayon into the table. The kids had always been intuitive, catching on to her moods when she least expected them to. "Maybe," Sarah admitted, adding a lightness to her tone. "Let us think about something fun. A trip to the park, perhaps." They cheered at the thought. She felt a flicker of light return to her heart, ignited by their enthusiasm. Once they were at the park, laughter and shouts filled the air as the triplets raced toward the swings. Sarah watched them play, their joy infectious. Just then, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, her breath hitching at the sight of Lisa's name on the screen again. "Mom!" Aiden shouted, pulling her back into the moment. "Come push me." With a quick glance at the message, she shoved it back into her pocket, forcing a smile onto her face. "I'm coming." As she pushed the swings, she found solace in the sounds of laughter and the warmth of the sun. For a moment, she felt suspended in that bliss, forgetting the messages waiting for her. But as the kids squealed with delight, the reality of what she was avoiding flooded back in. The park visit ended much too soon, and as they settled into the car, Sarah's heart raced. She couldn't keep dodging Lisa any longer. She would respond after she got the kids settled. That evening, as the children played quietly, Sarah finally sat down with her phone, fingers trembling slightly. Taking a deep breath, she typed, "I can meet. When and where?" The seconds stretched out like hours as she waited for a reply. Finally, her phone buzzed again. Almost instinctively, she opened it, but what she read made her breath catch in her throat. There it was, the truth she had been both dreading and craving laying open in front of her. Was she ready to face it? Or was the life she knew about to unravel in ways she couldn't predict? Sarah's heart raced as she stared at the screen. The message from Lisa was short but heavy. "We need to talk about Dad." Just those words sent a shiver down her spine. Memories flooded back like an old film playing in her mind, the kind she wished she could rewind or erase entirely. She dropped the phone on the table, turning it face down as if hiding it could shield her from what she needed to confront. The kids were still engaged in their play, chattering about superheroes and princesses, their laughter a stark contrast to the firestorm brewing inside her. She needed to keep it together. For them. "Hey, you guys." She called out, forcing a cheerfulness into her tone. "How about we have a little dance party?" Their faces lit up, eager to shake off the evening's quiet. Mia was the first to jump up, twirling with her arms outstretched. Aiden and Jake chased her around the living room, making wild motions and laughing loudly. Sarah joined in, letting her body move to the beat of a pop song blaring from the speaker. Each step felt like she was shedding the weight of the message, if only for a moment. As the music played, she felt a twinge of guilt mixed with warmth. Her kids were her whole world, and she loved nothing more than to see them smile. But then there was that other world, the one tied to Lisa and their father. How could she protect her children from something she hardly understood herself? After a whirlwind of twirls and giggles, Sarah collapsed onto the sofa, panting. The kids joined her, creating a pile of limbs and giggles. "We're tired, Mommy," Jake exclaimed, feigning exhaustion with an exaggerated sigh. Gazing at them, something in her softened. Maybe she could handle this. She could stand strong for them, no matter what lay ahead. "Okay, my little munchkins," Sarah said softly. "Let us get ready for bed so we can have more fun tomorrow." As they shuffled to the bathroom, she couldn't shake off the message replaying in her mind. The need to meet Lisa gnawed at her like a persistent itch. What new truths would unravel? And how would they affect her little tribe? Teeth brushed and stories read, the triplets snuggled into their beds, one by one whispering goodnight. Sarah lingered after the last light flicked off, the darkness cloaking her thoughts. "Mom." Mia's voice broke the silence, soft and unsure. "Will you always be there for us?" Tears threatened to spill as Sarah tucked the blanket tightly around Mia. "Always. No matter what happens, I will always be here." In the quiet of their room, she felt a flicker of resolve. But as she closed the door and leaned against the wall, her phone buzzed again, repeating Lisa's name like a mantra. The knot in her stomach tightened. What would come next? Questions crowded her mind, and dread pooled at the bottom of her chest. She couldn't hide forever. Could this meeting lead to answers she was afraid to hear? With a shaky breath, she grabbed her phone from the table, her fingers brushing the screen. The truth felt so close, yet so far away. She needed to gather her courage, but would she find it in time? As Sarah stared at the screen, she made a decision. Tomorrow, she would meet Lisa. No more avoidance. With her heart pounding, Sarah thought about the changes ahead. Was she ready to embrace the unknown for the sake of her children? The moment spent in reflection hung in the air, heavy. Sarah understood that sometimes, the hardest choices led to the most transformative journeys. But as dawn broke the next morning, a new message illuminated the darkness, compelling her to read on. What could it possibly say? The morning sun filtered through the kitchen window, casting soft rays that danced across the cluttered table. Sarah squinted at her phone, heart racing anew as she read Lisa's message. "It's important. Meet me at the park at noon." Noon. That felt impossibly soon, almost too soon. She inhaled deeply, a mixture of excitement and fear swirling within her. What could Lisa possibly want to discuss? Her mind raced through a gauntlet of possibilities, but none offered any comfort. "Mommy." Jake's voice pulled her from her thoughts. Pancakes. Can we have pancakes? Sarah forced a smile, shaking off the heaviness, even as the knot in her stomach twisted tighter. Absolutely. Let us whip them up together. As the kids bounced into the kitchen, she cracked the eggs and measured flour. Their excitement was contagious, their chatter weaving a warm blanket around her. But beneath it, anxiety bubbled. What are we doing today, Mommy? Mia asked, her eyes gleaming with curiosity. Well, Sarah hesitated, trying to find the right words. We have some things to take care of, but I promise we'll have fun afterward. Can we go to the park after? Aiden chimed in, flipping a toy car in his hands. Of course. After lunch, we can go to the park. They finished breakfast in a blur of syrup and laughter, the sound of tiny voices filled with joy making her heart swell. Yet all she could think about was the meeting. When the clock struck 11, dread wrapped its fingers around her. The kitchen buzz faded as she wiped her hands on the apron. Okay, munchkins. Time to clean up and get ready. The kids scrambled to assist, their energy almost tangible. Each laugh echoed in the back of her mind, propelling her forward. She knew she had to confront whatever lay ahead. At the park, the gentle breeze danced through the leaves, but Sarah felt the chill of uncertainty. She found a bench and sat down, the sun warming her face momentarily before her muscles tensed again. As she waited, butterflies flitted around in her stomach, unwilling to settle. Then she spotted Lisa, her silhouette emerging through the trees. Lisa's face was serious as she approached, her expression a mix of determination and hesitation. Hey, Sarah greeted, forcing her voice to stay steady. Thanks for coming, Lisa replied, taking a seat beside her. Her eyes were heavy with unspoken burdens. I think we need to talk about Dad, really talk. The words landed like a stone dropped in water, ripples spreading in Sarah's mind. I know. But what is there to talk about, Lisa? Lisa inhaled deeply, searching for the right way to communicate. There's more than what we always brushed aside. I found some things that could change how we see him, how we protect our kids. Sarah's heart raced. What do you mean? Records, documents, truths. There it was again, that word. Truth. Her chest felt tight, vulnerability opening up like a raw wound. Could learning the truth cut deeper than the pain they already felt? I don't want to hurt the kids, Lisa. They're so innocent. I know. But isn't it better to know? To prepare. Sarah's mind whirled. What if this was it? The moment of reckoning she had fought against. But deep down, she knew this held the potential for transformation. As Lisa shared the details, her voice steady and urgent, Sarah could feel hope ebbing into the crevices of her fear. What came next could be a new beginning or a crushing end. But as the conversation intensified, the wind howled ominously, a shadow of something more lurking, just out of reach, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Would these revelations lead them toward healing, or unravel everything they had tried to build? And just as Sarah braced herself, the phone in her pocket buzzed, its vibration sending a shiver up her spine. Check it, Lisa urged, glancing at her watch. It might be important. Trembling, Sarah pulled out her phone, her fingers shaking as she unlocked the screen. What awaited her behind that glowing glass? The message could change everything. Sarah stared at her phone, heart pounding in her chest. The message had a familiar number, but the content was something she hadn't expected. We need to talk. I found something a lot more than you know. What is it? She whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Lisa grabbed her shoulder gently. What does it say? Don't keep me in suspense. With a shaky breath, Sarah swiped her thumb across the screen, revealing a lengthy text that sent her spiraling. It spoke of hidden secrets, of things buried that should have been brought to light long ago. Information about their father. Their father. The very man they had spent years trying to protect the kids from, with their carefree laughs and innocent hearts. "It's from Uncle Ray," Sarah finally said, voice barely above a whisper. The sun blinked behind a passing cloud, throwing the park into a brief shadow. The brisk air felt heavier suddenly, as if the very atmosphere knew they were bearing the weight of something enormous. "What does he say?" Lisa leaned closer, eyes wide. Sarah clenched her jaw. "He says he knows things. Things about Dad's past that could change everything we think we know." "What kind of things?" Lisa pressed, her urgency palpable. "Stuff about family secrets, his involvement in illegal activities. Ray is saying it could be dangerous not just to us but more so to our kids, who are already too curious for their own good." Lisa's eyes darkened. "What? Illegal activities? Have you told anyone else?" "No." The word slipped from Sarah's lips, feeling like a confession that could somehow spill into more trouble. "But it makes me think, do I need to be more vigilant? Have we been living in a bubble? Maybe it's time we popped it," Lisa said slowly. "If Uncle Ray knows something, we can't ignore it." A surge of emotion welled inside Sarah, mixing anxiety with a strange sense of empowerment. This was a choice point. But that empowerment was quickly tinged with fear for her children. "Do we reach out to him?" Sarah asked, her voice wavering. "What if digging into this just makes things worse? It feels reckless. We can't sit back and do nothing. But we can approach this carefully. If we're honest with our kids about what is going on, and if Uncle Ray can help us figure this out, it might bring us closer. Or at least, it could keep them safe." The wind picked up, rustling the leaves around them, almost like nature whispering its support. Could this all be a way to protect them? Or would chasing the truth only lead them to darkness? Sarah wished she had a crystal ball to glimpse the future. As moments ticked by, she felt a weight of choices pressing down on her shoulders, every second stretching into eternity. "You're right. It just requires a level of courage I'm not sure I have. I'll be with you, every step of the way," Lisa promised, squeezing her hand. Before Sarah could respond, the phone buzzed again, this time with a call. She hesitated for a brief moment, glancing at the screen. It was Uncle Ray. "I think you need to answer that," Lisa encouraged. Taking a deep breath, Sarah swiped to answer. "Hello." "Sarah," Ray's voice was gruff and serious. "We need to talk now. This isn't safe for you or the kids." Her pulse quickened. This was it. The beginning of unraveling a truth long hidden. "Okay, where?" "Meet me at the diner in an hour. Don't tell anyone. It's urgent." With her heart racing, she dropped her gaze, and the weight of the unknown settled in her stomach. "Are you okay?" Lisa asked, brows furrowed in concern. "Not really," Sarah admitted. "But I think I need to go. I have to know what is going on." "Let us bring the kids home first, then we can figure things out," Lisa replied, though uncertainty lingered like a storm cloud. As they got up from the bench, a chill ran down her spine, the day feeling heavier than it had before. What lay ahead loomed distinctly between hope and dread. Before she could turn away from the bench, she dared to look back, her heart pounding again as if bidding farewell to a simpler, more innocent moment. What would she learn from Uncle Ray? And would it lead them to safety, or deeper into danger? What were the next steps and what consequences awaited them at the diner? As Sarah pulled into the diner's parking lot, the world around her felt electrified, charged with possibilities. The building stood defiantly against the pale sky, a stark reminder of the conversations that lay ahead. This is it, she thought, gripping the steering wheel, her knuckles white. The butterflies in her stomach fluttered wildly, a chaotic dance reflecting the ingredients of fear, courage, and maternal instinct. She exited the car, casting one last glance at the back seat where her 3 triplets innocently awaited with Lisa. They were her anchors, a constant reminder of what she was fighting for. Taking a deep breath, She stepped inside, the familiar smell of coffee and fried food washing over her like a warm embrace. Uncle Ray sat in a booth at the far corner, the harsh fluorescent lights casting shadows across his rugged features. He looked older than she remembered, years of life's burdens etched into his brow. Her heart raced. This was the man who held the keys to secrets buried deeply in their family. "Hey, Ray," she greeted, sliding into the booth opposite him. "Sarah," he nodded solemnly, eyes scanning the cafe before settling on her. "Glad you came. There's a lot we need to go over." "Is it about Dad?" The question hung between them like a thick fog. Ray took a moment to gather his thoughts. "We can't hide from it anymore. He's been in trouble, a lot of it. Things you don't want the kids to find out. They need protection." An icy chill ran through her. "What kind of trouble?" "I can't get into all the details now, but there are connections to some serious illegal activities deals that put him in touch with dangerous people. He's been back in town, watching them," Ray confessed, his voice low but firm. Sarah felt the world tilt as she processed the magnitude of what he was saying. "What do you mean watching? Why now?" "He's desperate, Sarah. Desperate people do desperate things. You need to be ready." The urgency in his voice sent shivers down her spine. "I'm here to help you prepare. I can't let him near you or the kids again." Fury and fear clashed within her. "Why didn't you tell me sooner? I thought it was behind us. I thought he'd changed. But I was wrong." His voice broke slightly, revealing the weight of guilt he carried. "I should have known he wouldn't stay gone. I thought you deserved a life without him." Tears prickled at the corners of her eyes. "And I do. We all deserve that." The hurt she had buried for years resurfaced, raw and tender. She clenched her fists, angry not only at her father but at the choices that had plunged her family into this cycle. "What do I need to do?" Ray leaned closer, his expression serious. "Stay alert. I've got some friends who can help keep an eye on things. But ultimately, you need to decide how to protect yourself and your kids. Cuts need to be made." An image flashed in her mind, her children's laughter echoing in that little house, blissfully unaware of the darkness looming just outside their window. "I can't let them get hurt. I want to take that chance." Ray nodded, a hint of reassurance creeping into his strained features. "Exactly. And we need to talk about getting legal protections in place. You'll need to keep him from seeing them, get a restraining order if necessary." As an uneasy silence settled, Sarah felt a shift inside her. With every word exchanged, she was garnering strength, a type of strength she had never known existed within her. She wasn't just a soldier in a battle, she was becoming a warrior for her family. "I'll do whatever it takes, Ray," she vowed, each word saturated with determination. "I am not letting this man come near my children." Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her from the moment. It was a message from Lisa. "How is it going? Everything okay?" Before she could respond, a new wave of determination flooded her. She wanted to protect her babies, her heart beating for them. "I'll keep you updated," she typed back, returning her focus to Ray. As they finished their conversation, a plan began to form in her mind, clear and resolute. They would take back control from the shadows of her past. They would face this head-on. Ray stood to leave. "You'll get through this, Sarah. Remember, you're not alone." Watching him walk away, Sarah felt renewed, standing taller than she had moments before. It was time to shed her old skin, to transform from the woman burdened by fear to the fierce protector of her family. She had a mission, one that would light the path ahead into an uncertain future but would keep her kids safe. She stepped back outside, where the air was crisper now, invigorating her spirit. As she approached the parked car, awash with the sunlight in her children's joyful faces, she knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. Their journey was far from complete. But together, they would rise. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to follow the incredible transformations coming next. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this story of strength and love. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let everyone know about this amazing journey. And please, comment below with your thoughts, feelings, and what you want to see next. Your engagement fuels this channel.